We are 2.5 weeks into the 2019-20 season, and it has been a very weird start. The worst coach in any sport of any time has the Bulls at a 3-6 record. Pascal Siakam is making my take on him never becoming quite a superstar look real dumb. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is looking like the greatest second-year player of all time. Gordon Hayward looks like he's back, averaging 20 points a game on great shooting over his first 7 games. Hell, even Andrew Wiggins is a respectable NBA player again. That's something I never thought I'd see. With as many small surprises like that we've seen, none of them are more surprising than some of the teams that we're going to talk about today. The Minnesota Timberwolves, Miami Heat, Boston Celtics, Phoenix Suns, and even the Charlotte Hornets have all been blowing expectations out of the water to open the season. So, let's talk about them. The Miami Heat have been simply amazing. 5-2 to open the year, beating the Milwaukee Bucks along the way, as well as beating the Houston Rockets by a metric fuck ton. And they have all done this with Jimmy Butler struggling. He's only averaged 15 points on 38% shooting in the 4 games that he's played because of the birth of his kid, but despite that, the rest of the Heat players have picked it up. Bam Adebayo is averaging 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 1.7 blocks, as well as 5 assists for some reason. Definitely didn't expect to see that when I looked up the stats. Goran Dragic is having a good start to the year as the Heat's new 6-man, looking like a potential 6-man of the year candidate. Duncan Robinson, who came completely out of nowhere, is shooting 45% from 3 on 5.5 attempts a game, doing so in just 20 minutes a game. And most importantly, their rookies have been fucking phenomenal. We'll talk about Kendrick Nunn in a second, but first we need to acknowledge Tyler Hero. He's averaged 14 points and 5 rebounds, not shooting the greatest from the field, but still solid at 35% from 3. His shooting is really vital to this team, and even after all the hype that he got from the preseason and the summer league, I feel like he's going underappreciated now. A lot of this I feel is coming from the rookie that no one had ever heard of, who is currently averaging 18 points per game, and that is Kendrick Nunn. Normally with someone like Nunn, I'd like to make a video focusing on him exclusively, but one, I'm not a huge fan of spending a lot of time talking positively about players who are pieces of shit off of the court. Karl Malone, for example. If you want to know why Kendrick Nunn is a piece of shit, you can do that research on your own. But separating the player from the person, normally when a guy like Nunn goes off early, I would write it off as just a hot start, like a Yogi Ferrell type of situation. But this isn't quite that. While Nunn has had a hot start, the difference here is Nunn has shown an elite basketball IQ as a scorer. Playing in the pick and roll, great ball handling, knows when to pull up, how to find his space, when to attack, when to be passive. He has a great on and off ball game, having a game where he hit 5 3-pointers, most of those coming off of curl sets to get him open for 3. He knows how to score in a smart and efficient way. It's not just a case of a hot streak for a chucker. So the Miami Heat have a nice young core here with Bam, Hero, Nunn, and Winslow, and they have Jimmy Butler on top of that. I fully expect this team to be at minimum a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference. I would probably even put them at 3. If they're not at 3, it will be because of this next team that I'm talking about, and that is the Boston Celtics. The Celtics currently have 3 players averaging 20 plus points per game, with Kemba getting 26, Tatum getting 22, and as I said earlier, Gordon Hayward is getting 20 a game. And on top of that, Jaylen Brown, the guy that they just gave a huge extension to, is getting 17 points a game. That's pretty much a perfect point distribution, which has been somewhat of a problem area for this Boston Celtics team back when they had Kyrie Irving, but with Gordon Hayward looking like he's really back, this Celtics team could be deadly. Kemba and a healthy Gordon Hayward are both all-star players, and I think Tatum could be all-star caliber this year. 21 a game, taking less mid-range shots, shooting more threes, and going to the basket more. Needs to start finishing better, but it's still a pretty clear sign that he's moving on from the wanting to be Kobe mindset, and as a result, he should become a better overall scorer. As for the peak of this team, unlike the Miami Heat, I do think there is some problems with their potential because they have a bit of a cap on it because of the lack of a big man. Enes Kanter is a pretty alright center. good rebounder, good offensive player, but he is a huge liability on defense. Maybe the Time Lord can clean that up and become this team's starting center, but that may be a reach this early into his career. I originally suggested the idea of trading Gordon Hayward's contract for Steven Adams, but now that Hayward looks like he's probably back, that deal would be just stupid on their part, and the Celtics don't have any other contracts that would match Steven's salary outside of Jaylen Brown, so that's not happening. Also, their bench depth is not great. Neither is Miami's, but the Celtics are relying on a lot of mid-tier rookies to be ready to contribute, and even if they are solid as rookies, that is still a lot to ask. But what I will say about both of these teams is that if I were the Bucks or Sixers, I would not want to be running into them. At least the Miami Heat. The Celtics are probably not as scary because of their lack of an interior presence, as I said. Embiid and Giannis would have a field day against Enes Kanter, but Adebayo is a really good defensive and mobile player, so he could be a problem for those guys. Sticking with the Eastern Conference, the Charlotte Hornets are fucking 4-3. What? When I and many others said that this Hornets team would be one of the worst, if not the worst in the NBA, one of the things that we did not factor in was coaching. The Hornets coach James Borrego has done a great job with this team. They have been very disciplined playing together. They've also had a lot of guys who are just better than we thought. Devontae Graham was someone that I thought could be the steal of his draft class. He had a poor rookie season, but this year he's been phenomenal for the Hornets. He was a great shooter and passer in college, and those skills have finally translated onto the court, averaging 17 points and 7 assists, shooting 47% from 3 on 6.4 attempts a game. Their rookie PJ Washington has been fucking nuts. He set an NBA record for made threes in a debut. Thanks for that. Miles Bridges is having a good second year, shooting 39% from 3, which is promising, and Terry Rozier is averaging 17 and 5. Graham is better, but that's still good from Terry. We NBA fans as a collective have underrated this team pretty significantly, and I suppose we should apologize for that. But still, fuck the Hornets for ruining the game that I went to see for me. Now in the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves, riding on the back of Karl Anthony Towns, are 4-3. It's not great, but it's a lot better than I expected. And when I say off of the back of Karl Anthony Towns, I mean that. Through 5 games, he's averaging 27 and 12 with 2 blocks, shooting 47% from 3 on fucking 9 attempts a game. I think Cat can become, if he isn't already, the greatest shooting center of all time. Keyword there being center, not big man. Not trying to disrespect Dirk out here. He looks like he's ascended to another level, but he is not the only guy on this roster. Andrew Wiggins has actually been really good to open the year. He bumped up his 3-point attempts to 7 a game. He's averaging 22 points on 54% true shooting percentage, which is the best that he's had since his second season. If he could keep this up, it would be huge for Minnesota. He's also taking 40% less mid-range shots than he did last year, which is huge. It's the reason he's seeing the spike in efficiency. Other than that, Robert Covington and Jeff Teague have had good starts to the season, though Robert Covington should definitely be playing more than 25 minutes a game, so fix that, whoever the fuck is the Timberwolves coach these days. And Jake Layman has looked like a solid addition off of the bench. Can they keep this up? Well, if Cat and Wiggins can maintain what they're doing to an extent as a duo, if that can actually work out to what it seems like it was supposed to originally, then yeah, they could be a pretty solid team. Does that mean the playoffs in the Western Conference? Not necessarily, but I do think it's within the realm of possibility. Of course, I'm rooting against all of this so that Karl Anthony Towns can demand a trade and go to the Chicago Bulls, but that is probably fantasy land. But last but not least, and actually definitely not least because they are the most surprising team of the year, the Phoenix Suns. Holy shit. I tweeted the other day after all of this chaos that if they could be the team to beat the Sixers, the last undefeated team in the NBA, that I would be convinced. Well, they beat the Sixers by 5. The Sixers didn't have Embiid, but they're still a good team without Embiid, which is a very scary thought now that I say it out loud. So, I'm convinced. They're 5-2, and the 2 losses that they have were only by 1 point, so they're literally 2 shots away from being 7-0. Where has this success coming from? Well, first of all, the god Aaron Baines. Baines, at least according to advanced stats, is the best center in the NBA. So, throw a shrimp on the Barbie, I guess. For real though, Baines has averaged 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, as well as 1 block while shooting 59% from the field and 48% from 3 on 4.4 attempts. 48% from 3 obviously won't keep up, but I think that he's shown that he is a legit threat from out there, even though he shoots like I did when I was in 3rd grade. He's also been great defensively. Just a phenomenal role player for them, and shout out to official Aaron Baines fan club on Twitter. That is one of the best NBA Twitter accounts out there. Now, I made a video a few months back about the Phoenix Suns offseason, calling it one of the worst of all time. And I still stand by that on paper, because a lot of the decisions they made were just straight up stupid. The ends don't justify the means there. But Ricky Rubio has been a great addition. Trading away TJ Warren for absolutely nothing to sign him to a contract that is more than what he's worth was still a stupid decision, but he has made it look somewhat worth it. He's made a huge difference, averaging 8.5 assists a game, playing really good defense, and shooting 40% from 3. And Kelly Oubre has stepped up significantly, averaging 17 and 6 while shooting 48% from the field and shooting 36% from 3 on 4 attempts. Just a reminder that the Wizards gave away this guy for 43 games of a 33-year-old Trevor Ariza, so good on them. And of course, the main man Devin Booker has been fantastic. He's averaging 26 points and 5 assists on 54, 50, 90 shooting splits. Of course, that shooting won't keep up, but Booker finally has a decent enough team around him to finally let some of his scoring translate to winning. And this team can become even more deadly when DeAndre Ayton comes back from his 25-game suspension. The one big flaw with this team right now is that their offense sucks without Devin Booker on the floor. Just look at the on-off numbers. But if Monty Williams, another guy that deserves a lot of credit for this team's success, staggers Ayton and Booker's minutes and puts Ricky Rubio next to Ayton in those minutes that he doesn't have Booker alongside him, then the offense can hold the fort until Booker comes back into the game. The Suns could be a legit playoff team in the West, which is a phrase that I never thought I'd say before. But here we are, I guess. So, congratulations, Suns fan. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.